Interpretation de Nina. The Teaching of Djwhal. New Esoteric Astrology. Chapter 16. Two factors on which we should assess the influence of the giant celestial bodies. Astrological influence is one of the greatest mysteries. Only now we are ready in its entirety to reveal it before you. Why do zodiac signs affect differently? What is the reason that the sectors of different elements influence differently from each other? Earlier we talked about the nature of astrological influence, and told that it is the effect on us of particles emitted by the giant celestial bodies. So we talked about that in different sectors of the sky the quality of particles reaching us is different. Now it is time to discuss the final details of this influence. We should consider two factors when evaluating radiation characterizing the sector of one or another area of the sky. 1. The total number of particles, regardless of their quality. 2. Qualitative composition of the radiation. How many there are particles of each specific plan, of each subplan, diapason, within the plan. The predominant quality, how many particles of yin and yang. How many of blue, yellow, red. The whole point of influence, coming from one of the three nuclei, and reaching us, is in the simultaneous considering of these two factors. This is the only way to grasp the full meaning of exposure to radiation coming from outside to a planet. The central celestial body, CCB, the nucleus of galaxy and the nucleus of supergalaxy galaxy, they emit a different amount of particles, regardless of their quality, and different in the qualitative composition. The central celestial body is the biggest of them all. The larger is a celestial body, the greater number of particles it emits. In addition, according to Wind's law, the higher is the temperature of the body, the more particles of shortwave diapason it emits. Thus, there are even more particles of long wavelength diapason in the composition of its rays. A temperature of the central body is greater than of all others because there are most of all matter in it. This follows from the law of transformation. It turns out that the central body is the most powerful source of radiation in the universe. And besides that, the particles emitted by it are of diverse quality. From the upper diapasons of the physical plan, radio, infrared, microwave, visible, to lower, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma. And besides, it emits the particles of the plans above the physical, astral, mental, buddhic and other two, atmic and monadic. However, due to the fact that the central body most remote from our system, in comparison with other two nuclei, more subtle radiation reaches us, there are more particles of upper plans than of lower ones. Because the higher is the plan, the slower its particles are slowed down. So, the influence of the central body is more subtle, more energizing, more spiritual than of other nuclei. The size and amount of the supergalaxy nucleus is smaller. Totally it emits much more modest than the central body. And the temperature of it is lower, so the qualitative diversity of particles is not so rich. The number of shortwave particles is much smaller than the number of long-wave. However, it is closer to us than the central body. Therefore, due to the close distance, the less number of particles of lower plans are absorbed and slowed down by the space environment. The result is that the percentage ratio of particles of lower and upper plans in a lesser extent is displaced toward the latter, than of the central body. The galaxy nucleus repeats everything said about the supergalaxy nucleus, and even more. It is even smaller in scale. Its temperature is even lower. And it is even closer to us. As a result, the total amount of energy emitted by it is even less. Because of the lower temperatures, the percentage of the particles of the lower plans is less in it. But because of the short distance, we receive such particles even more, in the percentage ratio, than from the side of the supergalaxy nucleus. Let's make a conclusion. Influence of the central body of the universe is the most spiritualizing, as it contains the highest percentage of particles of the higher plans. And it is the most powerful, as it contains the most number of particles totally. The central body in the greatest extent stimulates the development of the higher chakras corresponding to the Buddhic plan and the higher levels of the mental. The same characteristics for the nucleus of supergalaxy are expressed in the least. Its influence can be described as more materialistic, the percentage of particles of lower plans is larger, and the total number of particles is less. It develops the chakras almost of whole mental plan. And finally, the radiation reaching us from the nucleus of galaxy is the most densely material in nature, the percentage of particles of lower plans is the largest and the total number of particles is the smallest. It stimulates the chakras of the astral plane.